feel like a king, oh yeah. And baby, can't help but stare. Such a rush, baby. Oh, when you touch me, baby.
Such a rush, baby. Hey, guys and dolls, cats and chicks. You are listening to Viva ENT, Rock, Pop, and Soul. I'm your host today, Devin the DJ, filling in for Johnnny the Capo. He's celebrating his birthday at the Shores today. I'm here with my co-host, Johnnny
Rockstar.
And?
That's Johnny with 3 N's.
Right?
Maggie Love.
And the greatest producer in all the Pacific Northwest, Eric.
Hey, it's Eric.
CC Rider.
All right.
Woo!
I'm enjoying hearing your Johnny impression there, Devin. That's great. Guys and dolls, cats and chicks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Johnny, for letting me host the show today. I hope you're having a good birthday out there. And
yeah, happy birthday to Johnny the Capo.
we're here with other Johnnny Rockstar.
That's me.
So, Johnny, we're going to be discussing 1983. But first, we want to talk about our group, Viva ENT, Rock, Pop, and Soul. Check it out on Facebook. We're up to almost 1,000 members. Join the conversation today, and that's where the show will be. You want to go to Viva ENT Studios on YouTube and Devin Creisler Studios. It will be the 2 channels where we're uploading the show. So before we jump into 83, I'd like to interview my friend, Johnnny Rockstar.
Thank you.
So
honored to be here. Thank you so much. This is such a treat.
So, Johnny, how long have you been playing music?
Well, let's see. Now, I'm 109 years old now, and I started about 1976, 77, so that's too hard for me to calculate.
Okay.
A long time.
So I just attended your show, Rumors Inc. last week. It was incredible how talented you are. When's your
Thank
next
you very
show?
much.
You're welcome. When's your next shows?
Okay, we've got a show coming up. I've got, I guess we're going to get into this later. I'm in, I think I'm up to 5 bands now. It's confusing. That's what you got to do these days. One of our bands is The Warning. It's a Black Sabbath experience. We play all the greatest hits of rock from Black Sabbath all the way to Black Sabbath. And we're playing a show May 1st at a place called the Mirkwood in Arlington, May 1st. And
That's a great spot. Yeah.
Oh, it's a fantastic venue. We're doing it with we partner with a belly dancing troupe called the Moon Sirens. Fantastic goddesses of love and light that class up the joint. There's no easy way to say it. And then we have another show at a place called the Chalet Theater, and that's
when is that? Is that
May 15th.
Okay.
That's going to be a fantastic show in Uclaw, once again with the Moon Sirens. And then we have another show, I believe it's September 15th for Clonapalooza. That's way out in September, so I don't have a lot of details on that, but it's going to be a fantastic show.
That's great. So what about your other bands?
Well, let's see here. Sometimes I get confused. My one band of mine, I hope we're going to play some, is a band called Zombie Jihad. We are a tribute band. We're a tribute to all original bands featuring songs that you've never heard before.
Wow.
Yeah, people are into tributes, so we're going to do a tribute along those lines. Anyway, so all original, songs you never heard before.
And then what about your next band?
Okay, then we got The Warning. I mentioned that already. We have another band called Lounge Vultures. This is a band that circles above bars looking for, barflies and, the dead carcasses of drinkers and so forth. And we just got a brand new singer in our group. Her name is Jules Avalon, the most phenomenal voice you've ever heard. I can't wait to get her out there.
Oh, I'd love to record
she's
you guys.
fantastic, just fantastic.
And then you have a
Maggie
couple,
will.
Yeah,
Maggie, you'll confirm that, correct?
I confirm that, yes.
There we go. Let's see, that's band number 3. Then I play in a fantastic AC/DC tribute band. I get to be Malcolm, which means I get to just play rhythm guitar, which I love. That's a band that's fathered by a man named Howard Comfort from Puyallup. It's one of the best AC/DC tributes in the world, quite frankly. There's no easy way to say it. I'm just going to blurt it out. And then the last band I think we're up to is called Leonard Skinner. It's a tribute to Leonard Skinner. We'll be playing all Skinner, and I am a child of the South. I was born in Alabama, and you can take the boy out of the South, but you know the rest.
Wow.
I have been to Alabama, and I can tell you for certain that the skies actually aren't all that blue. It actually is hype, but still counts.
So you had a career before you were a musician.
That's correct, and it's still going. I've been in showbiz since age 7. Should I tell a little bit of story about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was a young buck, we had a neighbor. His name was Mark Harris, and Mark won an Academy Award for Best Documentary in 1968. I was just a young kid. I mean, I'm 109 now, so I was probably in my early 90s back then. Can't remember anyway. But we, in my bedroom, myself and my brother, we could look across the space between our house and the neighbors, and we would see his Academy Award sitting there. And then he cast us in a film called Wheels, Wheels, Wheels. And that was my brother, myself, and our dog Susie. And that film aired on Sesame Street. So
Wow.
I've actually been on Sesame Street, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to meet Oscar, but if I had met Oscar, I presume he would have said something along the lines of, I'll tell you why I'm so grouchy. I live in a trash can. Thank you.
And then you have some other credits too.
Of course.
You starred in a film called The New Kid.
Yes, I starred in a film called The New Kid. It was a very, very emotionally charged period for me, an educational film, and I actually put it on my my YouTube site. That's John Kelly at YouTube.
Oh yeah, they can find you on
Yeah, you can
Facebook
find
and
me.
YouTube.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, the
Facebook,
Warning
YouTube.
Band and
Yep. All these guys, shameless self-promotion.
and
And let's see, what was it?
well, you had a producing credit.
That's right. I produced a music credit on a song, for a song that was featured on another Academy Award-winning motion picture, 1991's Grand Canyon. I produced one of the songs that's in the soundtrack.
and that's Steve Martin in it.
Steve Martin was in it. A bunch of stars were in that film. I never got to meet them, but
You're a part of
doesn't
it.
count.
That's great.
Still counts. I think the clip that I actually produced played for about 3 seconds, but it does still count.
And then you're also a live sound engineer.
I am. I'm a live sound engineer, and I have my own recording studio as well. There's no easy way to say it. I'm president of a local record label, Non-Existent Records, and I'm also the janitor. I do it all.
But before that, you were for the Seattle punk band Zeke.
Yeah, I ran sound for a band called Zeke for over 10 years, and fantastic experience. And I got to do amazing things and meet a lot of amazing people. I ran sound for the Candy Snatchers. I ran sound for the Dwarves. I got to. There's no easy way to say it. This is pretty much the biggest feather in my cap. I saw Lemmy in his underwear.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a Black Speedo guy.
From Motorhead, right?
Yeah, Black Speedo guy. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Jeez.
Yeah.
So I've heard you're also with the theater. You were also
Yes.
you acted in plays.
I
and-
was in the theater for many years. In 1983, I was at the Evergreen State College, and I was deep in the rapture of the theater. I was in shows like Cabaret and West Side Story, and boy, the theater, it gets in your blood, and boy, you just can't get it out.
Yeah, there's that's what I was going to ask was what were you doing in 1983?
1983, Evergreen State College, Olympia, Washington. Ronald Reagan was president, and he was deconstructing all the safety nets for the mentally ill and so forth, so they didn't have any place to go, and we're seeing what that ended up being now.
Yeah, 1983. Ronald Reagan was Man of the Year on Time magazine.
Well,
So besides guitar, and you play a really mean lead guitar. What else do you like to do for hobbies?
I teach skiing at Snoqualmie Summit, and that's a blast. They're mostly young kids, and then I just got a brand new car, so I like to drive my new car. Actually, I like to look at it and gaze upon it and sit in it and just smell it and stuff. So I'm kind of in the new car rapture.
And you're also a captain. You go boating.
I am. I like to. I'm becoming a captain. I've passed the boat safety course, and I drive a ship out on the Sound a lot. And I have a list of people I invite all the time, and you're on that. So is Meagen Love over here.
It's great.
Yep.
So is there anything else you want to say?
Well, I'd like to hype Meagen Love over here, one of the best massage therapists in the land. Where do you work at again, Meagen Love?
I work at Massage Envy in Woodinville.
Mm-hmm.
There's 11 having it nationwide, and I've been doing it for 15 years.
That is fantastic.
Wow.
Maggie here is exceptionally skilled at finding that place in your body that
The one that's it's tense and
that really
yeah.
hurts. And
Yeah.
then she'll drive her knuckles right into that baby. And
Natural born healer.
yeah, that's right.
That's great. So should we get to 1983? Or
Let's go to 19. You ready to go to 1983?
You ready to go 1983, Eric?
Absolutely. What a big year for pop music. Just looking at some of these top 10 hits. I mean, these are some of the all-time classics, I think, of the 80s. The Police, Every Breath You Take, Billie Jean, Flashdance, Down Under, Beat It, Total Eclipse of the Heart, Maneater. So many of these songs that are still in the public consciousness today came out and dominated in '83. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
There was also the slow burn of Sweet Dreams Are Made of This.
Oh, yeah.
Which came out in '83, but really kind of hit its stride really in '84. And there was just like, I'm sorry.
That was number 10 song of the year. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there was so many great moments. Every Breath You Take was like the soundtrack to that summer for me. That was played like every other song. I believe it was number one.
It made number one at some point.
Yeah. And just a fantastic song. And the thing that always strikes me about that song is that, we were all looking at it as this kind of like Big Brother's watching you, like the coming 1984, right? And then Sting wrote a counterpiece to that later in his solo career called If You Love Someone, Set Them Free, as like the denouement to that particular song. So that's a great story with that song.
Wow. And then you probably remember Every Breath You Take, the number one song of the year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. A lot of people thought this was just a nice love song. Every breath you take, I'll be there. I'll be watching you. But really, it is kind of a paranoid stalker song, isn't it? I mean, he's really talking about
it's got a dark side to it.
Kind of, yeah, absolutely. But the Synchronicity from the Police was the big breakthrough album for them. They had punk and reggae roots and new wave roots and were doing well, but this took them to a whole new level, being a band like on the level of like a U2,
That's right.
Just huge.
That took them to another level, man. I'll tell you, I can remember vividly a friend of mine from Evergreen. His name is Danny Kelly, who ended up marrying a beautiful goddess, Karen Hancock, and he had just come from the show, and he was just gushing about the energy that came off that show.
Wow.
When the Police played. Like they had
Did they have Roxanne?
Every
too?
Little Thing You Do Is Magic.
Oh, yeah.
Roxanne was on their first record.
Yeah.
And I saw the Police live on their first tour. The band that was opening them for them was the Specials, and it was a phenomenal show. And that was the last time I got into a pit, because I almost got knocked out unconscious in that pit. They barely hung on. Well, they kind of protect you. If you fall in one of those pits, people would protect you. But I was like clinging to people. I got hit really hard. But that was like the thing back in the punk days.
The mosh pit?
Mosh pit and just slam dancing. Man, that was a blast.
Those
that
are
was
memories.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Scott. David Scott was there. There's another name I'd like to mention. David Scott was one of the members of Pop Defect, another famous Seattle band.
Wow. Oh, yeah. You know a lot of Seattle bands.
I do. I know. I'm blessed to know a lot of those people. Just off of like Rob Stewart and all the guys from Paisley Sin and just some really, really major players. Joe Dredd. I know Joe Dredd. I mean, come on, that's cool.
Yeah, and when we worked Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I worked Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I've met, the bass player, Verdine White, the bass player for Earth, Wind, and Fire. I've shook his hand several times.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed. I got a picture of me standing next to him. I might as well be standing next to Hendrix. You know what I mean?
That was less than 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
It does, doesn't it? That was like one of the big major concerts.
At the winery, yeah.
You were there too. We both, Devin and I are in the same stagehands union, the Mighty 1-5 and the Mighty 15. And both of us worked that show. And what a treat. I mean, and what's that song, September?
Oh, yeah, September. And it was on the 21st.
It was on the 21st of September that we saw Earth, Wind, and Fire, and they sang that song. My gosh, that was, what a great career to be in there, huh?
Yeah.
Come on.
So have you ever seen the movie Rock and Rule that has Earth, Wind, and Fire?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to be watching it later today. I can guarantee you that.
It's have you seen that, Eric? It's 1980.
No, I haven't seen it.
It was Canada's first movie produced in English.
Okay, interesting.
And it had Earth, Wind, and Fire, Debbie Harry, which actually, if you could play Angel's Song at some point, that was one of the tracks on that song. It was
cool.
A soundtrack. It was a great sound. It had Cheap Trick, Iggy Pop.
Surely Canada made a movie before this, though.
Well, not in English. Not an animated movie.
Oh, an animated movie.
First animated movie, yeah. So, but it had a box office of 30,000 on a budget of 8 million. So,
right on.
But someone that didn't had a really good box office was the number 2 song If you're Billie Jean.
That's right. Talking about how big synchronicity was for the Police. Well, Michael Jackson's Thriller came out, had a slow burn, and became, of course, the biggest album of all time in '83.
And that changed everything.
And
everything.
Billie
When
Jean,
when that record hit, it changed everything.
This was the first big single. Of course, it famously changed MTV, which considered itself a rock channel at the time, so they weren't really playing black artists.
That's exactly correct.
But when Michael Jackson came along, they started playing black artists, and that changed the whole...
everything. Everything changed when Thriller hit the thing, and Michael Jackson... there's these... I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just got to share this. There was this phenomenon that occurred back in the good old days when we didn't have an internet, where there would be the flavor of the month, right? This guy would jump up, and every now and then there would be a superstar, like Elton John in the early 70s. You couldn't cross the street without hearing Elton John's song.
Yeah.
And then later on, like the late 70s, Zeppelin kind of took over that crown. But when Michael Jackson hit, man, you couldn't go anywhere without hitting that record, and that was a phenomenal record.
Yeah,
he was in the news every night.
Well, he was doing the moon dance on Motown 25 on May 16th.
His hair on fire, all sorts of things.
Everyone saw that.
Yeah, '83 was a huge year for Michael Jackson and for pop music.
Absolutely.
Of course, produced by the legendary Quincy Jones, who, of course, had Seattle roots as well. So we've got a connection here with Thriller, if you will.
Yeah,
There's a further connection there. I went to the same high school as Quincy Jones, Garfield High School.
Wow.
Same high school.
Not at the same time, though.
Not at the same time. Yeah. I had been expelled when he was there. But Quincy and Hendrix went to the same high school, Garfield High School. And there's a wonderful shrine right at the beginning, as you walk into Garfield. That's got them, and Bruce Lee briefly went there as well.
Incredible! I didn't know that.
Garfield High School, baby.
That's the Seattle roots has
Go
so
Bulldogs.
many great musicians.
That's right.
Coming out of there, and it's Thriller is still on the charts to today. It's number 130 out of the 200 charts.
Wow, I'm sure it comes and goes. It dips in and out, kind of like how Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is perpetually
on
the charts. Yeah, for
the greatest selling record of all time. Actually, I'm surprised. It's actually the Eagles' greatest hits, which surprised me. I believe number 2 is Thriller.
Yeah, at the time though, Thriller eclipsed everything.
It was on the charts for 37 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and the hits kept coming. It was Billie Jean, and then it was Beat It.
I think there was
Thriller.
I think there was maybe 2 songs on the album that weren't released as singles. So that just goes to show some of the momentum of how big that record is. It usually you get maybe 1, maybe up to 4 singles off a record, but in this case, I believe it was like 8 hit singles from the album. Yeah,
at least.
Wow,
crazy,
just phenomenal, man. He was just and he was just so hot, and his performance was just electrifying. And
America had the new medium of the CD, because compact discs go on sale in the United States March 2nd, 1983. And March 19th, the first commercial CD player, the iconic Sony CDP-101, was released in the United States.
And that heralded one of the best, hugest eras in the music industry, was when CDs came on, because everybody had to buy those records again.
For $17 a pop.
All of those records had to be bought again. Everybody had to get another copy of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Everybody had to get another copy of blah, blah, blah.
After they got record, 8-track, and cassette.
Exactly. And so it was huge. I was working at a label called Mad Rover Records in Sacramento, California. And when they said Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is going to be released on CD, I mean, it was like an epic event. And they
had listening parties.
Oh, man, it was phenomenal. Those were really exciting times.
Now we just take CDs for granted. So.
More or less.
Yeah,
Most people can't even play a CD on their play now. Like
It
the
wa-
one I'm holding in my hand now.
It was probably another 7 years or so before they caught on in the mainstream, though. I'm
Exactly
sure
right.
the
Exactly
wealthy
correct.
people
No, it
were
was
on board early on, but CDs didn't really hit until about 1990 or so.
It's actually earlier than that. It was like probably about 88 or so when CDs really came on and were like really vying for like the main number one thing with vinyl. Vinyl was still a deal, it was still a thing, but it was just slowly being ebbed out. And yeah, it was a process. I remember when CDs first came out, I hopped in a car with my uncle, who's a very well-to-do gentleman from the Deep South, and he had a CD player. And
Wow,
I'd never
it's like,
seen
whoa.
one before. I'm like, ooh, and then he had like the Beach Boys and stuff, and I listened to it. It was just all pristine and perfect, all those harmonies.
Well,
Phenomenal.
my mom's car still has a cassette player, so we got to hook a aux cable to a CD. So that's
Right on.
it's still there's still people that use CDs and tapes, but streaming has taken over.
I know it.
That's too bad.
I've tried to hawk I feel like I'm one of the last bands that actually went out and bought 1,000 CDs. ZJ, I've got the CD right here for our original band, and boy, we can't give them away. People are just like, I don't even have a CD player.
Yeah,
It's
computers
crazy.
don't have them these days either.
Yeah, exactly.
My
So-
iPad doesn't have one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big movie in 1983 was Flashdance.
That's right.
Oh,
And
I
so the
remember that.
number 3 song
Flashdance.
was Flashdance "What a Feeling" by Irene
Irene Cara.
Cara.
That featured the infamous water scene.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Flashdance, movie about a woman who was a welder by day and a dancer by night.
That's right.
That old story.
Yep,
I know, yeah.
a classic tale.
Man meets welder. Woman meets arc welder. Yeah, there was a lot of fancy. That's a really visually a very powerful image. A woman with an arc welder sending out all those sparks, just like life.
In a world made of steel, made of stone. Where I hear the music, close my eyes, feel the rhythm.
Oh, that up tempo.
I know. Just makes you want to dance, doesn't it? Makes me want to hop in a chair and pour water all over myself. Not too cold, please.
Now, Irene Cara didn't have a lot of success, but she did have 2 really big songs in the 80s. Of course, that being Flashdance, What a Feeling from the movie Flashdance, but also Fame from the movie
Oh, no
Fame.
way.
Yes.
She did that too.
Yes, she did. So she had that, and if you can have success like that, then you're probably set up for life. But as far as her non-movie, non-soundtrack work, she didn't quite have the follow-up success that I'm sure she hoped for. But a great voice and great songs.
I hope she got a good contract because, some of those contracts they got, these gals and people that wrote songs, they get residuals from every time that music plays. So
You got to read your contracts,
maybe
definitely.
raking it in.
Well, this also had a great soundtrack because another song coming up, Maniac, Michael Cimbello will be coming
Also from Flashdance.
up.
Yep,
So are we ready for number 4, Down Under, Men at Work?
we are.
Oh my gosh.
Now, this from Men at Work's debut album called Business as Usual. And they were, of course, an Australian band. This song all about being from Australia.
On a hippie trailhead full of zombies.
Kind of unlikely success. We didn't see too many Australian bands topping the charts before Men at Work, but this album was one of the biggest, and in fact, it kept Thriller from the top of the charts for several months, and they scored a few hits off this album.
It's a
What
great
was
song.
their other hit? They had a couple of hits. I always get these guys mixed up with Flock of Seagulls.
Who Can It Be Now? That was big in 82.
Yeah,
Who Can It Be Now is a huge hit.
that's a great song. Bringing it all back. I'll tell you one thing about 1983 that might get overlooked. There was phases. early in 1983, there was a band called the Stray Cats, and they had a song
the Stray Cat
called
Strut.
Stray Cat Strut.
Yeah.
And it was like rockabilly revival, oh boy, and they had this guitar player, Brian Setzer, who was just a monster. And early in 83, if my memory is, that was the song that was like on the radio all the time. And everybody was like, oh, wow, it's a return of rockabilly and blah, 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 blah. And then by the end of the year, we're getting into, I remember when the Eurythmics came out with Sweet Dreams. And it was like, oh, yeah, Kiss guitars, goodbye. It's all synths now, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.
Yeah, disco is long gone.
Just that fast. It was like we went from being like, oh, it's all a revival of good old time rock and roll. We're going to go back there. And then by the end of the year, people are like, yeah, we're tired of that. Let's go synth.
There's so many different
so many
genres.
different little genres,
Exactly.
pocket genres
Yeah.
popping up. Well, Business as Usual was, again, a massive hit for Men at Work, and then they followed it up with Cargo, which also came out in 83 and it scored the hits Overkill, It's a Mistake, High Wire. Big hits for the band, but then after that, unfortunately, squabbles within the band kind of led to a different lineup, and they kind of dropped off success-wise. But they had their moment in the sun for sure.
That's what happens when you either have the love or...
Well, getting the band together is easy compared to keeping it together. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. No kidding. Starting a book is easier than finishing it.
Yeah.
So number 5 is Beat It by Michael Jackson. Another...
Gosh, that was early on then. Because by 84, he was like, had all 5 of the top 5 slots. He was like the Beatles. Oh my God, and Beat It. I remember vividly listening to this on the radio, and then the solo came on, and I was like, that sounds like Eddie Van Halen. And then sure enough, I was like, no way.
Eddie Van Halen's
Who did
part
they
of this?
get to play like Eddie
That's
Van
right.
Halen? Yeah, he's the lead guitar player on this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, it's a great story. Well, boy, we're all learning something. Quincy Jones calls up Eddie Van Halen. Hello. This is the urban myth. Eddie Van Halen said, hello. Hey, Eddie, it's Quincy. Dude, F off, loser. Pow, he hangs up the phone. He calls him back. Quincy kept calling. No, it's really me. Okay. And he got it and managed to get him to play a song on the song. And then Eddie came into the studio and said, look, can we edit to the chorus so I can play my solo over the chorus? Because otherwise it's just one note. So there is a great story behind the Eddie Van Halen collaboration with Michael Jackson.
Wow.
Talk about getting the best. I mean, come on. Quincy Jones, no prisoners. We need Eddie Van Halen on this.
Oh, yeah. Eddie
Quincy, call Eddie.
No big deal. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And then David Lee Roth and Eddie were at odds each other, which is weird because they were just about to hit one of their biggest records in 84 with Jump and all that. Yeah. And David was always dissing on Eddie. He'd say, well, he's been playing the same solo for Michael that he's been playing for us for the last 10 years. What's the big deal? Something like that.
Yeah. It's too bad that Eddie passed away last year, but
it's tragic, man.
And another tragedy was Karen Carpenter.
Oh, my gosh.
In 83.
What a loss that was.
Yeah.
What a loss that
Acadia.
was. That is my guilty pleasure. I absolutely adored Karen Carpenter's voice. And when my daughter was born, I used to sing Next to You to her 50 times a day.
Yeah.
You're a
Michael
Carpenter
Jackson,
fan,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Michael Jackson, though, is just greatest year probably for him in his career.
Oh, my God. That just leaped him. But, he had a record just before that called Off the Wall, also produced by Quincy Jones. And they had a song called, what was the one? I can't remember. But he had this song on that record that, whenever I work as a DJ someplace and they put that song on, man, the dance floor is packed.
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
That's it.
Don't Stop Till You
That's
Get
it.
Enough.
That's
Great,
it. Yeah. And, man, that song is a crowd packer.
Well, guys, we're about due for a commercial break, so why don't we do that, and then we'll come back with more of the biggest hits of 1983. Stay tuned to Viva ENT.
To support the sponsors of your favorite shows on Alternative Talk 1150.
Turn Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming around. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my tears. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified and then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart.
All right. As we come back into Viva ENT, talking about the biggest hits of 1983. Number 6, Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh, Bonnie Tyler.
7-minute epic song. Speaking of videos, we talked a little bit about MTV. This had one of the most played videos, I think, on MTV, and completely inscrutable. Who knows what's going on in this? She's like a headmistress at a boys' private school, and then they turn into vampires or something. Their eyes start glowing. It's really kind of a interesting, very artful, but very inscrutable.
I was watching it this morning. I just
it's
put
a
it
classic,
on
you know?
the.
It's epic.
It's epic, exactly. And you got to have an epic video if you've got an epic song that's 7 minutes long. A pretty rare thing in, the top 100 charts, for sure.
This song went number 1 on September 30th, 1983. So. And you remember it, right, Meagen?
Yeah, I was 9 years old, glued to the TV, watching MTV. This video is like a staple of my foundation. I love this song over and over again. I can't get sick of it.
That is so awesome. Wow, you were right at your just like completely being influenced days.
Yes.
I was so locked into college at the time that I didn't watch MTV a lot, but it was the defining
This
MTV.
timeless songs are coming out. Like,
Back when they played music on MTV.
back when MTV was MTV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
It was a big deal, man. When MTV first came out, whatever the year was earlier than that, this station that plays only music was so unheard of, and they didn't have commercials or anything to start. And you would sit in front of that television set, and you couldn't come unglued. I mean, it was
No.
amazing.
this is one music video after another. They had Beatles. They had
I had
Dire Straits. And
Oh
I
man,
Want My
yeah,
MTV.
Money for Nothing was a huge hit.
Oh, Dire
Yeah.
Straits, yes.
That was a little later, I'm pretty sure.
MTV debuted in the summer of 1981, August 1st. Of course, started with Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles, which we talked about on a previous show.
Mm-hmm.
But that local band, what's the local band that does a kick-ass version of that? What was the name of those guys? They did you gump, the gump, but the bumbo. What is that?
Presidents of the United
Yeah, that's
States.
it.
Yeah.
Those guys did a fantastic version of that Video Killed the Music Star. Really good version. I like those guys.
I'll have to look that up. Well, our next song on the list after, Total Eclipse of the Heart, we could listen to that the whole show. But
Oh, absolutely. There's another 4 minutes left. But I got to say, Bonnie Tyler, a great vocalist. I think pretty underrated. She's got that distinct husky voice that's just great. And, she's from Wales, and, her and Tom Jones really representing Wales for sure.
Oh, big time.
yeah, great duo.
Wait, there's this great...
I wish they would duet. That would be something.
Oh, they didn't?
Two really big voices from Wales together doing a duet. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
That would. They're still alive. They could do it.
Let's tweet them.
Let's do it. Our next song is Man Eater. Daryl
Oh, my
Hall's
gosh. Oh, wow.
Hall and Oates, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
snap.
snap. Oh, my gosh. I am such a huge Hall & Oates fan. I've seen them like 4 times now.
Oh, we worked their show,
Oh,
too.
and we worked their shows, of course. Really blessed to do that. Oh, my gosh. And I'll tell you, Daryl's House, you ever watch that?
No.
Daryl's House is epic. Daryl is such a music lover. He has this show called Daryl's House. He'll invite Billy Gibbons in, or CeeLo Green, or all these superstars to come in, and they'll sing, ZZ Top song, and then they'll do a Daryl Hall & Oates song, and it is incredible. I urge everyone to check out Daryl's House.
Oh, I'll have to check that
You
out.
will not
Yeah.
be disappointed.
Watching waiting. She's sitting with you, but her
That is just amazing.
This song featuring G.E. Smith on rhythm guitar, and of course G.E. Smith went on to lead the Saturday Night Live band for several years.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't know G.E. Smith played, but that is an excellent Axeman, that guy.
Absolutely.
He's amazing.
Is there just vocals, Hall & Oates for this?
Hall & Oates, Daryl, they all play music. I mean, they all play instruments. I've seen Daryl Hall play piano and a guitar when I've seen him live. And then John Oates, he plays guitar. He's the main Axeman. Those guys are from Philadelphia, and they really have kind of this Philadelphia sound, I think.
And they, in fact, got their start working with last week's guest, John Madera.
Yep. Yeah.
So it all comes together.
Mm-hmm.
Another Johnny.
And their catalog of music is so vast. And when I've seen them in concert, they're playing Rich Girl, and they're playing all the big hits, and then they'll play blank. And I'm like, oh, my God, they wrote this? No way. I mean, they're...
Or like Johnny Madera wrote a lot of the hits.
They have
and then
hits after hits after hits. And then it wasn't 83, but after this, like 85, 86, they conquered MTV. They used to have hit after hit after hit. Man, they ruled MTV briefly.
They were the quintessential 80s.
In sort of mid 80s, I can't remember exactly. Like, it was like that went through all these phases, and there's huge, watermarks in there. Then we went to the hair metal phase, and then Guns N' Roses came along and they wiped that out, and then Nirvana came along and wiped that out. And it was just, stuff like that.
Wow. And there's also this song that came up, number 8, Baby Come to Me, Patty Austin and James Ingram.
Yeah, ringing the bell. Let's hear that.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. The title I recognize, but I don't know that I know the tune. Let's hear a little.
Don't let it slide.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Back immediately.
That's jogging the memory.
There's a special kind of magic.
This is another Quincy Jones production.
And this is Quincy again, huh? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear that Quincy Jones production in it, too.
Totally.
High production value.
Quincy Jones wrote the theme song to Sanford and Son.
Really?
Down, 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 down. Yeah, he wrote that.
Oh, yeah.
Dreamy.
Yeah, no, this song was all over the radio, 83, for sure. And, Patty Austin and James Ingram had, distinguished careers, maybe didn't quite see this success again, but great song for sure.
Might have been in one of the movies that came out. I mean, they had 83 had some great
movies. That screams for a movie soundtrack, doesn't it? It's like, flying into the danger zone. Yeah.
And like the movie The Outsiders came out.
Oh my gosh, that's a fantastic movie. Francis Ford Coppola directed that, and that book is fantastic. And he followed that book like the Bible.
Yep. Yeah.
There wasn't
I've
one
seen
line in there that wasn't in the book.
Yeah, because we had to read the book in high school and
I
watch
love
the
that
movie,
book.
and it was
Love that book. And boy, all those stars. Boy, that's like even Leif Garrett was in that. He was the bad boy, and there was like Tom Cruise, and it's a who's who of movie stars, man.
Yeah.
Emilio Estevez.
Oh yeah,
Did you meet Emilio last time?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
At the Mic 'em Up. Yeah, that was great.
You know what I asked him?
What did you ask?
I said, Emilio, hey, do you mind if I ask you a movie question? He goes, sure. I go, yeah. What's Mick Jagger like? And he goes, that was a terrible movie. It's like, well, I didn't want to say it, but he's like, oh, Mick Jagger's cool, man. We were just hanging out. He's a great guy.
Wow. Speaking of
that movie was terrible, though.
Movie soundtracks. The next one's Maniac from Flashdance again.
From Flashdance, the other big hit from the soundtrack.
That movie was huge.
It was huge, and it cost about $7 million to make, but it ended up earning $201 million.
That's just off the hook, isn't it? It's off the hook. What was the name of the actress in it?
Jennifer Beal.
Oh yeah, and she had this scene where she removes her bra without taking her shirt off, and it was like a trick that she told the director she could do, and the director, okay, let's put it in. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's quite the movie.
Yeah.
It's the music videos.
It'll make your pants tight.
And like Irene Cara, Michael Sabello is one of those guys or one of those artists that seem to only have success when they were part of a soundtrack. I'm hard pressed to think of any other Michael Cimbello hits, but this was a huge song.
There's gold in them Nar hills. Them Nar soundtrack hills. There's gold.
Part of it might have been the way that Michael Cimbello looked, which was not like your typical rock star for sure.
I'll have to see what he looks like.
Yeah, just Google image and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Does he look like Elvis Costello or something?
Well, no, just kind of a more heavy set guy with a beard.
A bigger guy.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a story.
Okay,
There was this band that was really good much later, called Blues Traveler, and they didn't fit the MTV standards,
Sure,
so they
John
did a
Popper.
video. They did a video with all these young people in it. They just said, "Well, we'll just put somebody else in here," and they all pretended to be them. It was really funny.
So this next song is the one of the biggest hits on the chart, in my opinion. Sweet Dreams Are Made of This.
Oh my gosh, what a
absolute
fantastic
classic,
song.
and really launched the Eurythmics into superstardom.
Yep, and
Dave
in the lounge,
Stewart,
in the
Annie
Lounge
Lennox.
Vultures, when we got our brand new singer Jules Avalon, that got us, I was like, oh, we got to do this song, and I was like picking out songs for it. Just be tuned for the revival of Sweet Dreams when Jules Avalon's version hits the charts.
Got a swampy feel to it.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. Not a lot of guitars in this track.
No, but Dave Stewart is a fantastic guitar player.
He is incredible, boy. And, he did a record with Mick Jagger not too long ago. Really fantastic record, man. Amazing.
But this, of course, fit in well with the synth pop that was popular at the time, but more timeless, really, in a way than a lot of the synth pop that was big in the 80s. And, of course, Annie Lennox extremely striking in this video with her buzz cut that, was dyed
And
bright
those
red.
eyes and her lips.
Yeah.
Exactly. I really view this song as really a song that really brought in a whole new genre into like gothic and industrial. And, this song is so covered, man. Marilyn Manson did a cover of it. I'm fairly certain Nine Inch Nails did a version of it.
Sinead O'Connor kind of took it.
Yeah, man.
influence by
And the
this.
lyric is so apropos to what life is about. Sweet dreams are made of this. Some of them want to use you. Some want to be used by you. I mean, it's just really
Great lyrics.
goes to,
yeah.
oh my
And
gosh, this
as
song
a
is
fan, I would constantly sing this song, and I still do this
Oh,
day
my-
after
it's a
40
beautiful,
years.
Beautiful, beautiful song.
A lot of
Timeless.
soundtracks
Years.
too.
Timeless. And they went on to do, Eurythmics did some really kick-ass songs after that too, like A Missionary Man and
Here Comes the Rain, of course. another
and they
big
had
one.
they had like 4 or 5 really good hits, man. And her performance at the Freddie Mercury Memorial with David Bowie on Under Pressure, there's a magic moment as well.
Huge Rhythmics fan.
Right?
Oh, I love them.
Well, now for something completely different. Eddie Rabbit, You and I. Massive hit. Maybe doesn't quite live on in the way that, Sweet Dreams Are Made of These does, but this was a huge hit at the time.
Oh, yeah. I love this song.
Piano without the synth.
Crystal Gale, of course, duetting with him on this one.
Oh,
I
Crystal Gale's on
love
this.
Crystal Gale.
I wonder if her brown eyes are still blue. Do you think?
I don't know. I wonder if she still has that hair or if she
Yeah.
finally cut it. Who knows? But, we've talked about in past shows about the late 70s, early 80s. There was a time where country music kind of spilled over into the pop charts and kind of had a moment with artists like Eddie Rabbit and Crystal Gale just becoming mainstream success in a way that you don't see as much anymore with people crossing over quite as much.
I think Dolly Parton had a big part to do with that.
Well,
too.
of course, yeah, and Kenny Rogers too. yeah.
Absolutely.
Love
Absolutely.
Kenny Rogers.
And another next song is "Come On Eileen." I mean, that was
right
in the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack.
Dexy's Midnight Runners. A great song that's, of course, maybe overplayed at this point, but very interesting, unique sound combining, traditional Irish music with pop and new wave. And unfortunately for the Dexys, became their only big hit. But a great song. In the UK, they had other hits. They kind of changed with every album. The previous album, they had done more of a straight-up soul kind of sound and scored some hits with that, and then completely reinvented themselves for this album and scored this international massive hit, Come On Eileen.
Happy Bump just makes me feel so young.
Sounding like nothing else on the charts at the time, for sure. You just didn't hear like the violins and the banjos in records at the time. I mean, even the country crossover was doing more straight up pop music than this was. Kevin Rowland, the man behind the band, a very unique, interesting performer.
Yeah, we barely scratched the surface in '83. We're going to have to do part
That's
two
right.
next week.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
And while you're out there, if you have any weeds that need eating, we have goats for that at Earthcraft Services, 206-240-5573. Also, get a massage at Acadia Massage Health Center, 206-545-7902. Anything else you guys want to say, Johnny or Meagen?
Well, do we get to play one of my songs from the record?
We will.
Still
Yeah,
do
as a closing.
I just think, I just want to thank you guys for having us on. This is a fantastic trip down memory lane. And wow, I was so deep in college at 83 that a lot of these kind of went right over my head. But it's great fun to go back and remember, especially the music industry was so different then. The world was so different then. It's kind of crazy. I feel like we're all in Alvin Toffler's Future Shock.
Oh, yeah.
The world is changing so fast. It's just crazy.
Well, it was great having you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Devin.
thank you, Meagen.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all those people out there who need a massage, I work at Massage Envy in Woodinville.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
All right. And thank you, Eric.
Yeah, man.
Always a pleasure. And we're going to wrap the show with Zombie Jihad. You'll See Demons is the album, of course, and this is the kind of the title track.
Kind of the title
Demons.
track. It brings it all together. This is a song called Demons, and I remember vividly. This song is the record is really about a journey to get past the forces of darkness that try to hold us down. It's interesting because I originally wanted to call the record. There's no easy way to say it, so I'm just going to blurt it out. F the neighbors. And that is demonstrative of how all of my decisions are not that good. The band talked me out of it, and we went with You Will See Demons, which is a much better record title. And this particular song kind of sums it all up. And I hope you like it.
All right. Well, join us again next week for more of the biggest hits of 1983.
Thanks for tuning in.